And we are back with part 2 of this week's reading of the Messianic Jewish Family Bible, the Tree of Life version. And this week we are finishing up the book of Numbers. And we have already read chapters 25 and 26. We're doing this week 25 through 36. So we are about to move into chapter 27. And chapter 27 starts out with a subtitle, Inheritance of Daughters. And then also the second part is Commissioning of Joshua. You're going to find how important Joshua is going to be in the future in the history of B'nai Israel. So remember I had mentioned Zelophehad, that was a spoiler alert that we would be discussing him later. Well, we're actually discussing the daughters, and this is called Inheritance of Daughters. The daughters of Zelophehad, son of Hefer, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, of the families of Manasseh, son of Joseph. The names of his daughters were Mahlah, Noah, Haglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. They stood before Moses, Eleazar the Kohen, and the princes of the entire assembly at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and said, Our father died in the wilderness, and he was not one of the followers banding together against Adonai with Korah, though he died for his own sin, yet he had no son. Why should our father's name diminish from his family just because he had no son? Give to us property among our father's brothers. So Moses brought their issue before Adonai, and Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, The daughters of Zelophehad are right in saying you should give them property by inheritance among their father's relatives. You are to turn over the inheritance of their father to them. Furthermore, you are to speak to B'nai Israel, saying, If a man dies without a son, you are to transfer his inheritance to his daughter. If he has no daughter, you are to give his inheritance to his brothers. If he has no brothers, you are to give it to his father's brothers. If his father had no brothers, you are to give it to the nearest relative in his family, that he might possess it. This is to be a legal statute for B'nai Israel, just as Adonai commanded to Moses. The next part is entitled Commissioning of Joshua. Then Adonai said to Moses, Go up this mountain of the Abarim range and look at the land that I have given to B'nai Israel. This is where Moses is getting to actually see the land, but he's not allowed to enter, remember. When you have seen it, you will be gathered to your people, just as Aaron your brother was gathered. For in the wilderness of Zin, during the strife of the community, you both rebelled against my word instead of honoring me as holy as the waters before their eyes. These were the waters at Meribah, at Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin, when instead of just speaking to the rock, he struck the rock. So Moses spoke to Adonai, saying, May Adonai, God of the spirits of all flesh, appoint a man over the community to go out and come in before them, who will lead them out and bring them out, so that the people of Adonai will not be like sheep without a shepherd. Adonai said to Moses, Take Joshua, son of Nun, a man in whom is the Ruach, and lay your hand on him. You will have him stand before Eleazar the Kohen and the entire assembly and commission him before their eyes. Give to him some of your authority so that the whole community of B'nai Israel will obey him. He will stand before Eleazar the Kohen, who will pray and obtain judgments for him by Urim and before Adonai. At his mouth they will go out, and at his mouth they will come in, he and all the community of B'nai Israel with him. Moses did as Adonai commanded him. He took Joshua, stood him before Eleazar the Kohen and all the entire assembly. Then he laid his hands on him and commissioned him, just as Adonai had spoken by Moses' hand. So that is the end of chapter 27. So there's a bunch of things that happen here. The daughters of Zelophehad came forward because they verbalized their feelings that it wasn't fair that their father's name would get wiped out, basically, because there would be no inheritance for him because there was no son to pass it off to, and they were asking for their father's portion because he had died in the wilderness. And Moses, that was a big decision to make, and Moses took everything to the Lord. So he took that to Adonai, and Adonai's answer to him was, "These four women are right, and you are to give them their father's inheritance." And then he actually came up with the solution when this particular thing would happen in the future, how inheritance was to be handled if there was no sons, and then if there was no daughters. He took it to the next levels so that the inheritance of someone would not get lost, as in this case it would have if these women had not stepped forward. The second part was the commissioning of Joshua. Joshua indeed is Moses' successor. Moses is coming to the end of his life. As you can see, we're building up to that, and Joshua is the man that is going to take over. Joshua was very faithful follower of Adonai and listened to Moses' instruction. He wasn't one that was grumbling and complaining. He was very faithful in everything that he was doing. So he was the rightful successor that was appointed. So that was chapter 27. We are going to now go into chapter 28. And we're going to talk a little bit about Moedim, appointed times. And that's also going to go into chapter 29 as well. So we're going to begin with chapter 28, Moedim, appointed times. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, "Command Bnei Israel and tell them to be careful to present to me at the Moedim," meaning appointed times, "my food offerings by fire as a pleasing aroma. Tell them, this is the fire which you are to present to Adonai, 2 male lambs a year without flaw as a daily regular burnt offering. Prepare 1 lamb in the morning, and the other lamb you are to prepare at twilight, along with 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour for a grain offering, mixed with 1/4 of a hin of oil from pressed olives. This is the regular burnt offering initiated at Mount Sinai as a pleasing aroma, a fire offering to Adonai. With each lamb pour out 1/4 of a hin of fermented drink at the sanctuary as a drink offering to Adonai. Prepare the second lamb at twilight with the same type of grain and drink offerings you prepared in the morning, a fire offering as a pleasing aroma to Adonai." Shabbat, weekly rest. On the Shabbat, you are to present 2 flawless male lambs a year old, along with 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour as a grain offering mixed with oil and its drink offering. This is the burnt offering for every Shabbat, besides the regular burnt offering and its drink offering. The next part, we have Rosh Chodesh, new moon. On the first of the month you are to present to Adonai a burnt offering of 2 young bulls, 1 ram, and 7 flawless male lambs a year old, with 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, with each bull, and 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, with the ram, and with each lamb 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil for a grain offering, a burnt offering as a pleasing aroma, an offering by fire to Adonai. Their drink offerings shall be per bull 1/2 a hin of wine, 1/3 of a hin of wine per ram, and 1/4 of a hin per lamb. This will be the monthly burnt offering at each new moon throughout the year. Also, one male goat as a sin offering to Adonai beside the regular burnt offering is to be offered with each drink offering. So yes, there is the new moon um, at the beginning of each month. So we just had actually, well, the next new moon will be actually on the 26th of, actually it was the 26th, what am I saying, of March. The next one will be actually this week. We're looking at going into the month of Iyar. So we are ending Nisan. So on the eve of the 25th will be the Rosh Chodesh, the new moon. And I do pre-record these, so I had a little mixed up which month I'm on, because I'm pre-recording this actually ahead because of my schedule. So I'm actually doing this, and it is the month of March when when I'm doing this recording, but it will be presented in April. So the next section is entitled Pesach, Passover. And that is very important. And by the time we present this, Passover will be over. On the 14th day of the first month in Adonai is Adonai's Passover. On the 15th day, there is to be a feast for 7 days. Matzah will be eaten. So that's the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You are to hold a sacred assembly on the first day. You are not to do any laborious work. You are to offer to Adonai burnt offering by fire 2 young bulls, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs a year old. They are to be flawless. You are to offer their grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah per bull, 2/10 per ram, and 1/10 per each of the 7 lambs, plus 1 goat for a sin offering to atone for yourself. In addition to the morning burnt offering and regular burnt offering, you are to offer these. Just like this, you are to offer each day for 7 days the food to be offered by fire for each day as a pleasing aroma to Adonai beside the regular burnt offering with its drink offering. On the 7th day, you are to have a sacred assembly and you are to do no laborious work. Shavuot, Feast of Weeks. On the day of first fruits, when you offer to Adonai a new grain offering during the Feast of Weeks, you are to have a sacred assembly. You are to do no laborious work. You are to offer as a pleasing aroma a burnt offering to Adonai 2 young bulls from the herd, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs a year old. With each bull there is to be a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil, with the ram 2/10, and with each lamb 1/10, plus 1 male goat to make atonement for you. In addition, you are to prepare the regular burnt offering with its grain offering and its drink offering. They are to be without defect. Now, the Feast of Weeks, or Shavuot, will be on the 30th of May. So it begins, the celebration begins of Shavuot, begins on the eve of, which would be the 29th at sundown. And there's a little footnote here with what I just read below Passover from 1 John chapter 2, verse 2. He is the atonement for our sins, and not only for our sins, but also for the whole world. He, meaning Messiah Yeshua HaMashiach. And so that we need to remember he was our Passover lamb. He was the sinless, blameless, spotless. He was the only one that walked the face of the earth that could claim that and would ever and will ever be able to claim that. And my counter is saying 35 minutes, and I know that is incorrect because I did not do this part. It has not been 35 minutes. So I am going to probably, let me see how long. I might take a chance and do chapter 29 and then pause it and see what happens. Hopefully I don't have to redo this part. But we're going to go into chapter 29. Yom Teruah, the day of shofar shouts. On the first day of the 7th month, you are to have a sacred assembly. You are to do no laborious work. It is for you a day for sounding the shofar. You are to prepare a burnt offering as a pleasing aroma to Adonai, one young bull from the herd, one ram, and 7 male lambs a year old without flaw, with their grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah, with the bull, 2/10 with the ram, and 1/10 with each of the 7 lambs, as well as 1 male goat as a sin offering to make atonement for yourselves. Also, offer the burnt offering for the month with its grain offering, the regular burnt offering with its grain offering, and the appropriate drink offerings as a pleasing aroma to Adonai as an offering by fire. Now, this is actually the beginning of the fall feast. This is Rosh Hashanah that we're talking about here, Yom Teruah. And the next section is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. On the 10th day of this 7th month, you are to have a sacred assembly. You are to deny yourself and do no work. You are to present to Adonai a burnt offering as a pleasing aroma, 1 young bull from the herd, 1 ram, and 7-year-old male lambs without defect, along with their grain offerings of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah with the bull, 2/10 with the ram, and 1/10 with each of the 7 lambs. Also offer 1 male goat for a sin offering, in addition to the sin offering for atonement, as well as the regular burnt offering with its grain offering and their drink offerings. Next, we go to Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles. And I think to be on the safe side, I am going to pause it because this counter is actually uh it's looking like it's going to 40 minutes, and I know that's not so, but I have no idea actually where the time is. So I'm going to come back with part 3.